Welcome to the final round of the second week of the 32nd Grand Arena season, and I'm playing against Peempo, which was a match I was very much looking forward to. He's also known as the Modfather, and I guess pretty known in the community, so I was expecting a fun but also a hard match. Starting off with maybe a classic almost, Aiden versus CLS, and I changed my strategy for this fight a little bit. In the past I always went for 2PO first, but now I just tend to go for CLS first. Just makes it easier, I guess. But still, it's no joke, this team, of course. They have other counters, such as Fridian, which I also could have used, I think. But I just prefer this one, especially like with the data grants that are still around with the Terminator. That makes Fridian difficult. That's why Aiden is just the better option here. And as you can see, once CLS is out, at this point is pretty much everything's under control. So started with full banners, which was a good feeling. Then, this was a challenging fight. This Lord Vader with Thrawn and Maul kind of makes it super tricky to use Fennec, as you can see. And so my idea was to use a pre-taunt that potentially Thrawn will either go for the pre-taunt or so the fracture doesn't land on Bam. But as you've seen, I forgot that the taunt would be cleansed by Maul, so a 2-turn taunt like Crew would have been better. So then I lost Bam, but eventually I got Thrawn out of the match, which was pretty big. That's why I had an easier cleanup then. Then back to my new favorite Build-A-Bear on my team. Darth Revan, Starkiller, Mace Windu against, this time, a comp of JML with Barris. I think the last comp was with Jolie, and so I was excited to see how this turns out, because I'm still I haven't seen this counter before. Not that I invented it, just like Darth Revan was the only Sith that makes sense to me as a leftover that I had available. But it seems like, at least in this season, I was the only one using that team. And it's versus Jedi, it's quite strong, or like especially with teams that are like, or that have to be careful not to be feared. If there's fear immunity, it doesn't help so much, but usually this helps, as here for instance. But as you can see, it's get dicey, but still holding on to a thin thread of life, especially Mace Windu. But so far so good. Getting to my ult pretty soon, getting it here, and then can basically yeet out Barris, can heat up the team, get another turn, and then take out JML. Of course, a little bit dicey. The higher relics on the team, especially on JML, the dicier it is, but it's nothing that you couldn't solve with better modding for your tunes as well. Talking of modding, or speaking of modding, this was a very interesting fight. I sped it up because it takes quite a while. And this time, I think it was the first time I used Ray against Malgus. Wasn't really experienced with that fight, so I just thought, I guess you just whirlwind the side turns and then whirlwind or alt Malgus. Usually that should be enough, right? So I was trying this, took in Holo to have like another tank, and wasn't sure about the third one. I was thinking maybe Hoda, but I wanted to keep him for another team, which you will see in a bit. Or I was thinking maybe one of the bros, or whatever, but then I decided to go for someone who can ability block, so I opted for Betan, but other than that he didn't really have a role in this fight. Then he was, of course, also taken out. And as you can see, it's getting pretty difficult to take out this Malgus here. He already took an ult. He already took a whirlwind and doesn't do much to him. And I think this is just like, it's a great display of what modding on top of things can do for your characters. And in this case, Peempo, of course, has this title of the Modfather, and it really shows. Like you can see, I struggle a lot. Also have not really an ideal data cron. I figured later I should have used a different data cron potentially, I had just one with a little bit more survivability. I should have used one with more oomph. Like I figured out I had one with 50% extra offense later on. That would have been better. And so, yep, Ray lost to Magus. I guess I'm the only one like the season who did that, but it goes also down to modding, and it was great from Peempo's side. Cleanup, yeah, can be very dicey as well, because as you can see, full protection, all the shenanigans that he starts with. And so I tried to use a cheap, still expensive cleanup, but I guess it's the overall cheapest option you have available, which is basically just like, as you can see, Bounty Hunters, Boss, Grief, and Mando, just to hope to get a contract in time and then snipe out this guy. And this happened here, so easy enough cleanup, could move forward with the match, and that was great to see. Also great to see is this team on defense. It's the first time I'm seeing this, what is the English? Is it Initiate? I think it's Initiate. Sisters of the Night, with this stupid overpowered datacron that she has, where she can take out GLs. And seeing this on defense with Daka, so extra defense, and also zombies, so making it extra hard to kill her, was quite threatening. Or frightening, not threatening, but also threatening in a way, but also mostly frightening. Because I had to experiment. But yeah, Treya was my best shot, to be honest, and so I got lucky that only Cyan was taken out and not Nihilus. So Cyan did his job, keeping Nihilus alive, so to say, or distracting from him. Then I could take out the sister, and then at this point it's pretty much under control. But still, it's a very dicey battle, I'd say. So everyone who has this Datacron, congrats to you. I didn't get it, and I also am not even sure if there's still material around to get it, because it's quite fun, but also interesting, overpowered, interestingly overpowered. What also is interesting in this match, if you kill one of the Night Sisters like too quickly, like by accident you kill Daka, or you kill even Initiate before you can get Annihilated off, then you trigger like the revive from Zombie, then you have to isolate her again. And then you give the team more time to kill you, the Night Sister team. So there's still some finesse there, like you have to juggle the targets around just to not kill the wrong Night Sister at the wrong time, in case you're that powerful and can take them out enough. So I was happy that this counter worked, because as I said, my first time using it, no experience there, first time facing that team, but not the last time. Later this season I also faced it again. But yeah, was great. Then there was a Darth Revan team, which is a great team in defense, still one of the best ones. And so I decided to take in JKL, because I think it was my best shot as a non-GL counter. Best delete for extra offense, extra speed, and then Hoda. That's why I said I wanted to use Hoda here, because he helps a little bit to take out a Malak at Relic 9. As you can see what happened here, almost 260k damage. JKR, this was so good. I mean, of course, part of it is the Datacrons right now that are still like quite bonkers for him too. But I just like this guy as a character in universe, but also in game, right? So he hits like a truck. Or a truck hits like him, let's put it like that way. And then, took out Darth Revan twice, because I couldn't take out Talon before that, and so 56 banners, which was okay, I guess. So, back to the cleanup of Lord Vader. Maybe because this is pretty straightforward, you just take out Maul after you apply the tank tech to SKR, then hope to get to ult at some point, and then it's like a slappy fight between him and Lord Vader. Maybe back to why I was opting for this dicey counter, because I thought, well, there still might be a chance, and I wanted to save Galactic Legends at any cost, because, you know, it's a very good opponent, and so I expected the back wall to be at least one GL, and that's why I went with the risk to use a dicey counter. There's potentially I'm not sure what is the best option there. If there was an option after Bam is fractured to win this fight, I guess not. The only chance you might have had that the pre-taunt might take the hits from Maul. So you need potentially a crew or something. That then with Fennec you can kill Thrawn, get Bam out of fracture, and then you can potentially win. But yeah, as you've seen, that didn't happen. I guess I should also put my L3 on a higher relic level, or like I don't know. That's aside from that. Back to this fight. So as you can see, my ult bar is full. Taking it now. Sometimes I still like try wait a little bit because it's super hard to get back into ult anyway after you triggered it for the first time, because you rarely crit, right? So then did my part, and then now it's back to the slappy fight. Who will be slappier, so to say, than the other guy? Still charging the ult. Yeah, I sometimes feel stupid to talk about these things because I think you've seen this a million times, but it's still part of the match, so I want to cover it in the videos. Yeah, and of course, the longer the fight goes, the stronger Lord Vader gets, and so. But usually, it's not much of a problem, as you can see. 29 banners, bad banners, of course, but that wasn't pretty much my problem here. Then we are back on the back wall, and there was a JMK, and yeah, maybe my thought process. I thought Darth Vader has a shot if there is a pre-taunt. That's why Shaw was there, and if there is someone who can strip off the buffs from the JMK team, because with tenacity up, there is only ability block landing on 2 Jedi, which is not enough to cycle Merciless Massacre. So I thought, what options do I have? And the only option that came to mind was Echo, because he's fast enough to go directly after a cat, or to go even before a cat, depending on cat's modding, right? So it is expensive because you essentially weaken your options for the Bad Batch. However, as you can see, it kind of works. So all I'm doing now is like stacking up dots, cycling Merciless Massacre, Force Crush, Basic, and at some point the goal is just like to take out with a Culling Blade one character, ideally GK, or actually it doesn't really matter, but then afterwards, then Cat will die, usually to dots, and then you take out JMK. And I guess the best thing is to take out GK with the Culling Blade, because then when he comes back you can directly go after Cat. Yeah. So are there risks to this battle? Pretty much, yes. High tenacity modding on any of these characters can become a problem when you cannot cycle. And I guess also if the timing is not right, or once you killed them and JMK comes out of it as the last man standing, and you don't have a Datacron that allows you to revive as Darth Vader, you can also die, of course, because he might just go for you, and then it's game over as well. But you can clean up like a lonesome JMK easy enough. But yeah, so as you can see here, I took it, killed killed then Cat, and then stacking still dots. JMK dies to dots, and now it's just 2 versus 1, and going back and then Culling Blade and finish the fight. So that was great to see that this works as a one-shot. Expensive, but yeah, was fun. Then we're going to the North Wall, want to see what ships we have to deal with. And this is, yeah, still a very strong team on defense, and I thought Dash alone has no shot at it, and Dash with, yeah, crappy side characters isn't really working, so potentially Dash and Han Chewie works. The opening usually always goes well. Where it comes dicey is like the part where this guy stands up and just wrecks you. I'm trying to control him here, so works okay. Just keeping it stunned was the idea. Stunned or dazed, even better. And so taking this win 53. Not the best banners. There might be a better option, like Queen and IG11 would also be a good option, I guess. Then, yeah, another dicey battle, maybe. I mean, it depends a little bit on your modding, but also a little bit on the timing that you have throughout the match. And the timing is mainly an issue when there's a Zeta on this girl, right, Cara Dune, because when she has potency up, as you can see here, she just comes back, and sometimes she just taunts all the time, you're forced to go after her. You kill her, she comes back, taunts again, and all that kind of stuff. That's why it can be dicey, it can time out, but usually just be patient and wait. At some point it will fall off, and you can kill her. Of course, you ideally want to also kill Kyle, like right after, so you then have to deal with the revives from more Mothma, which was unfortunate in this case, but I felt like, okay, it worked once, why it shouldn't work again, so just go for it. You also ram damage throughout the match, and then at some point you can also hope that an AoE kills both at the same time, for instance, and then it's also game over anyway. Or you just kill Kyle like that, and then hit someone else, just to hope that it falls off of her, like potency up, and then you can go for her. Which didn't happen, of course not. But yeah, just be patient. At some point, things are meant to happen. Or not, depending on how much time you have for the fight. Maybe a little bit about the time while we're looking at this. Sometimes I have the feeling that the 5 minutes are not long enough. Not because the battles per se take so long, but sometimes the animations feel much too long. I recently had a fight with Jabba, and Bausch, whatever layer was taking so many turns in a row, bony turns, that it almost took a minute for her to just cycle through her animation, and it was so annoying and felt like unnecessary annoying. Also annoying is that Kyle came back here, by the way, but now Cara is gone, and almost Kyle is gone. Now he's gone, and so the fight is over. So just trust the process, and end the fight before the clock goes down. But as I said, 5 minutes sometimes feel too short. Another, I think, North Wall battle. I guess the strongest 3 versus 3 team of the Grand Inquisitor. And so I decided to use Maul here, which is pretty straightforward, because with the help of the 25% 10 meter data chrono, my armor was just faster than everyone else, and then you can go to town, get your 5 stacks of Anguish, and then try to kill Nime's sister, or ideally also the other guy here, Grand Inquisitor. And this usually happens with the help of the AoE. And then you back to 5 stacks, and so you can essentially cycle these barrages of damage, and so that happened here. And so I was able to take out the team. It's not full banners, of course, but it's a one-shot, and that is what counts in most cases, right? Then my own CLS versus Radis. I think I've done this battle almost every match of this season, or even the last 3 versus 3 season, or whenever I saw it. Potentially it's too expensive, but I feel it's still I don't know. I didn't know where else to use this CLS team. I guess it has higher targets, such as gas. You can take out gas with it as well, but I didn't need to take it for gas because I had dash, so that was okay. This bounty hunter team, not really an issue if you have good troopers, or I think troopers is the easiest way nowadays. There are other counters to it as well, but I think why not take the easy route if you can, and so that happened here. Full banners. Then another fight that I sped up because it takes a while. This trio I think we've seen also in the last round, and I also used it on offense for some time. Nest with Queen and IG. It's just great synergies, even though there is no lead in this team, but those synergies make it really hard to deal with depending on what counters you have available. I thought Darth Revan might be the best counter. Not Darth Revan, Shadow Knight Revan. Sorry. But especially to deal with Nest, because as you can see, she's still annoying. Like, how old is this character now? A few years. And still annoying as Sordi can be. I think, or maybe they are both. Yeah, both are the same kind of annoying. And sometimes I don't figure out how Sordi even works. Anyway, derailing here. Yeah, took out Queel as you've seen, then now go for IG so I can focus down Nest just by, my hope was to mark her, reduce her max health, and then just like, yeah, you know, like throw a feather at her and she falls. But as you can see, there is always widerstanden, which means resisted. Because she was high on tenacity, again, it comes down to modding in this case, what works and what doesn't work, and here in this case, yeah, the tenacity was just too strong for my Jedi team. Then I checked, it was not as strong as I expected it to be, but I also don't have no potency up or anything, and so it was just not enough to get through her. Maybe a spoiler, this is a timeout, but you might have guessed it already by now. She gets close at times, like into yellow, or like the lower yellow, and then you are like, oh, there's hope. But also like timeouts are built on hope, and yeah, and that happened here. So, is there anything else I can talk about right now? Nothing comes to mind. I mean, there are many things to talk about, but nothing that is kind of related to this particular fight. Here it was quite close, and then I was hoping maybe there is a chance that, yeah, but there was also damage dealer missing in this team, I have to be honest, so it was not the best comp I've chosen. But it's okay. I can clean this up. For that I took in my leftover Ziv, Dooku lead, which is great. And then there's healing immunity, tenacity down, all the good stuff that you want to have when you're dealing with Nest, and so it was pretty much under control. I'm not sure if this team wouldn't have had a shot against the Frio, like with the other scoundrels, but yeah, for that it was pretty easy. And I just also like those, like to use those Ziv because they're actually quite good, but there's just a bit missing in their kits to make them great, right? So it's always nice to use them, even though it was just a cleanup. Then we're seeing Hux. I think it's, yeah, the Datacron on the TIE Pilot and Sith Trooper, of course. Yeah, I've given this team not crap, but I think it's overrated, especially in Freeze. Other people might feel different about it. Just for me, there's always one piece missing in the mix, which is usually a tank or a damage dealer or the person who gives offense up, or just like all these kind of things you want to have and with offense advantage. So yeah, I took in Padme and it felt easy enough. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a good Omicron. I just have to deal, or like also find a way to use it in the best way. I guess it comes down to that. And now we're in ships. Hard ship defense. We're starting with Profundity. Oh no, it's called Peter, right? The fleet is called Peter. Against Executor. Interesting starting lineup. Executor, it's mostly anti First Order, I believe. You can also make it more difficult for Rebels, I believe, as well. But not so much for Profundity, I guess. At least so far, I haven't had a bigger problem with it. Let's see if this is still the case now. Yeah, what I usually do is like when they mark or get mark on one of my ships, I bring in Cassian, then take off Mark. Not Mark. What's the other thing? This other debuff that makes keeps preventing that the Torn falls off from Hulls. Maybe write it in the chat or in the comments. Sorry if you know the name. It just slips my mind right now. And then at some point you still have the AoE available, or like the call to assist, not AoE. English terms. And then it gets quite, yeah, it's quite easy. So that's why I kind of like this. And usually those 4 ships are enough for Executor, depending on how the fight pans out and goes down. And here, this is always a situation, should I call it another reinforcement or should I not? And usually I don't. But I guess I was a bit distracted, that's why I'm stopping here. Or I was heavily thinking, this could also be the case. Yeah, as you can see, I was opting to not call the reinforcement. Taking almost got out this guy, now he got himself out because he attacked someone who counters, and then unfortunately they got their second pick of the contract, which was too late though. So Slave 1 came in, Slave 1 went out, then Leia went out and distracted the capital ship, and so the fight was pretty much under control and over. Now it's just a matter of taking out this annoying ship without losing an extra banner, of course, which happened in this case. So that was stupid, but it is what it is, right? So 74 banners. Then we're flipping the tables, attacking the Peter fleet with my own executor, and I still have to practice this fight a little bit. It's hit or miss for me. There is, I guess, some finesse to it once things don't pan out the way you want them to, as always in fleets. But you need to practice this stuff. And like in my fleet arena, we have like 3 people, including myself, who have the profundity, like Peter, right now. And so it's always a bit like difficult to get practice in. But got out dash ship and also in the tank, and so at this point it was quite okay. Could get my healing up or in. Still lost my Razor Crest, so I guess I healed the wrong ship potentially, and then had to take in a reinforcement just to strip off all the buffs, land buff immunity, get to my contract, and now I was hoping that I can at least finish this fight without losing another ship. Almost there. Now I'm there. Can take out the capital ship, and so then can take out Landing Falcon, and then this is a ghost. I always mix those two up. And then Finalizer versus a Rebel fleet, which was interesting to see like how the rebels are split. It makes a lot of sense. I still have to farm this ship. It's just 5 stars for me right now, and I'm not sure how good it is. Again, it's a matter of practice to figure these things out, but I think in Fleet Arena right now, with just mostly Executor around you or Profundity, it's very hard to practice these things, and in TB you don't want to do it, right? So if you have no arena chart mate who would set another fleet for you, it's very difficult. But generally speaking, this should be an easier, or not an easy battle, but a relatively safe battle, even though I used totally picked the wrong starting lineup. Usually you start with Shuttle and TIE Fighter and versus Rebels and Silencer, and then bring in Echelon, but I was somehow mixing up Echelon and the Shuttle, and so I had to start without my engine, which was a bit stupid, but at the same time also gave Silencer the opportunity to ramp up damage a little bit because the fight was longer. So there's always an upside in all the downsides of life, I guess. Unfortunately, my Shuttle was taken out, but at this point I felt like, it's too late for the Rebels because Silencer is just like one-shotting people here. And so I wasn't too afraid, even though, as you can see, with offense down. And this is the outcome of the match. Unfortunately, Peempo wasn't able to clear. He said to me, we spoke a little bit, and he said he had some problems like with a crash or so. But also JMK was holding quite strong. Took out 2 GLs of him, I believe. So that was exciting. Won the final round here, and then I'm the top 25 for the final week. So this will be exciting, and I guess also a little bit like nerve-wracking, to put it like that. Thanks for watching. See you then, and have a great day. Ciao. Bye.